Hello, everybody. We got two queers in a track, a little bit of dueling banjos. The only reason I'm playing that is that we were trying to figure out on the other show what was the dumbest state, Florida or Texas. And so I thought a little River Tucky theme music would be appropriate for this show because there's a lot of dumb things going on right now, in this country. Not necessarily just Florida and Texas definitely don't have the lock on it. But how you doing, Christian? Oh, you're still muted.
Sorry about that. Yeah, that was funny. For those who watched our earlier show, you would get that. So if you didn't, then anyway, that's funny. All right.
Pop over to the coffee channel and
that's
check
right.
it out. You will get a good laugh because you go, oh, no, that makes sense. But anyway, hey, this is Two Queers in a Truck, and we have 6 hot topics that we're going to talk about, and we're going to jump right into it, actually. And we did drop this show on February 23rd, so we have a lot in the news, a lot going on. And the first one that I like to call is projecting is the game. So Tucker Carlson, in his infinite wisdom, is claiming that the Ukraine basically owns Biden, that Biden's family's made so much money off the Ukraine and all kinds of stuff. And so, that's why Biden wants to defend the Ukraine and against Russia and all this. And it's coming with this whole huge, conspiracy theory, basically projecting, because, the Republican Party is completely beholden to Putin, loves Putin, is rooting for Putin to attack the Ukraine, a democracy that's supported by NATO, which is our allies in Europe mostly. And on top of it, why would you ever want to be rooting for Russia? Why would you want to be Russian?
Yeah.
Like it's very bizarre. I know that the Russian billionaires are some of the top donors to the NRA. And there's just this really weird NRA Republican Party, Putin marriage, this menage a trois. But it's just gotten to the point where we're risking nuclear war with a nuclear power. Just for politics, and it's just very bizarre.
Jenny, this is one of those things that, many things have confused me, but I'm sure if you're listening to this and if you watch any of our shows, it doesn't make it. I don't understand what the end game is with someone like Tucker Carlson or Ted Cruz or those people who are supporting foreign, the GOP was always the party that was America first, or even Trump ran on America first. And so to hear them cheerleading for Russia or cheerleading for Canada or cheerleading for these other countries rather than cheering for America, I don't get who they're trying. Who are they going after? If it's an older person, it can't be an older person. Can't be. I don't get what they're doing. What do you think that is?
Well, I have no idea. Maybe I don't think they know. I think, and it's a party that has no leader, no actual leader, unless you count Putin. That has turned into just a nuclear reactor meltdown of authoritarianism. That so much so that they want so desperately to be in control of the United States with an iron fist. They're willing to ban books. They're willing to create havoc at school board meetings. Or they've gone so far off the rails that in this desperation to do anything, attack the Capitol, to stop, the peaceful transfer of power, to change voting laws, to restrict people from voting. It's this, I guess, a desperation. They realize the monochromatic party of the Republican Party, that white people have lost power. And they watched 81 million people in a pandemic, a global airborne pandemic, find a way to vote and knock out the first American dictator in Trump and terrorist. And I think they need any Hail Mary they can, and they're getting so desperate they sound as stupid as they really are, but obviously it's kind of kooky. It's I as a child of the 80s, and we were both, in our high school and junior high years in the 80s.
Reagan would be turning over in his grave right now.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Let's say somehow Reagan was really young when he won the presidency, and he was still alive today. Can you imagine the look on his face? Or even Papa Bush. Both of those men, as flawed as they were, as much as I don't like them, can you imagine their look on their face if they had sat through the 4 years of Trump? Like, you even look at, even the evil Emperor Dick Cheney. He's sitting there going to the Capitol on January 6th, commemorating that. And he was one of the few Republican dignitaries, former vice president, that even commemorated it and said, this is an issue. And who would ever thunk that Dick Cheney and Liz Cheney would be the voice of reason in a Republican Party?
So you know what, Jenny, I was thinking about this also when you were talking about this, because we mentioned it briefly in our other show, a coffee show, about the anti-war. I'm anti-war. And it's almost as if, and I think you are too many, right? Okay. Yeah. But it's almost as if though someone like Tucker Carlson, or, libertarians, and we've had libertarian co-hosts on here that are anti-war as well. And it's almost as if though they are calculating in some type of delusional way that if they start speaking up against us protecting Ukraine, that somehow that's an anti-war message, and that we will go, you're right, we shouldn't be defending Ukraine, as if though they're going to win us over.
Right.
I don't understand their logic, because it's not like we're invading Ukraine. We're protecting you. We're trying to protect Ukraine. There's a difference. We're trying to prevent a war from. So I don't understand the logic.
As our NATO allies, we've been a part of NATO since the end of World War II, and so it's very bizarre. But moving on to the next topic, which then right after this topic we will have a short break. But this one's called the Majority Leader of Stupid. So MTG, our famous Marjorie Taylor Greene, said something really stupid. I believe it was a couple of days ago, and she said she's confused in Congress because of all the communists in Congress, and it's very bizarre because the Republican Party behaves like the Communist Party in the Soviet Union, but they want to consolidate power under their flag and have absolute control. They whatever they say goes, and there's nobody else can dissent from that. That's the way Putin runs Russia right now. Basically, he wants the old communist Soviet Union to come back. But it's just so bizarre that MTG, I'm assuming she's calling the Democrats communists, and that it's confusing her that they're even in Congress. I'm like, it's just like, it's like some of her neurons, I guess, pop in between slugs of wine. And she just, like, every once in a while, after she does a shot of tequila and swills down some wine, she wakes up from her stupor and says stupid stuff. And her verbiage has gotten stupider by the day. And this is one of them. Just I'm so confused. I'm like, you're not confused. You're just stupid. Where else do you go for that?
I wish we knew. Because I don't know anybody. I wish I knew someone who was a big fan of hers. So that way I could gauge what the attraction is, or if they really take her seriously, or if they just see her as entertaining. You know what I mean? I wish I could, almost like I always wanted to meet someone who liked the Kardashians, because I'm like, who would follow the Kardashians? But I actually met people who liked, I know you like that. You used to, right? Didn't you watch the Keeping Up with the Kardashians or something?
I've watched a little of their show. And I really watched it when Caitlyn Jenner did her first season of I Am Kate. And so I didn't really see the attraction of the Kardashians, but because, Caitlyn, the step parent of some of them and the parent some of the Kardashian Jenner kids, and has been a parental figure in their lives for a long time. And so, out of curiosity, because Kate makes some references about her kids and Kris Jenner, her at that time, I think they still were legally married, and so you kind of have to have a point of reference. I knew about the show, I heard about the show, but it wasn't a reality show that I really got into because I just really I don't know. It wasn't
but I get
a type show. It was more like a just, hey, we're rich, we're privileged.
but I guess
thing,
no, but my point, Jenny, is you were watching it knowing that it's entertainment. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you weren't sitting there going,
absolutely.
You weren't sitting there going, oh, God, like I don't know. You knew it was entertainment.
Yeah, it was meant to be entertaining. So
exactly.
The difference between MTG
mm-hmm.
or our local Congressman Dan Bishop, Bathroom Dan,
mm-hmm.
is that I think their only appeal to somebody that would vote for somebody like that would be the entertainment value and the, I guess, the appreciation that they speak the plain truth. They're just straight talkers. They're just so, they're really representing our family values when they honestly don't stand for anything but self-promotion.
I think that's kind of what I was trying to get to is I do think, I mean, of course we won't know until this election comes up here. We'll have some idea of what people are really thinking. I really do believe that Marjorie Taylor Greene, Matthew Cawthorn, the other your amosexual lady,
Laura
Bobbitt, and even Bathroom Dan here. I really do believe that they have been convinced in their mind that they believe, they actually believe they are entertaining to people. And there probably are a couple of people that they have met, maybe at a Bojangles or something, that said, "Hey, I follow you," and they believe they're baloney. And I do believe that most people see them as a Kardashian, just a entertainment. And I think that they actually think people see them as serious. And I think you're going to find, or they're going to have this very rude awakening that they are that it's a very different demographic. I don't know. I think that they think they're playing in a progressive liberal entertainment world, and they're not like that. And I think in their mind, they think that they are very popular. And
we do have to wrap up this topic.
Sure. Yeah.
Alarm. But I will say, when you don't have much talent, you might as well be a clown. Anyway, we're going to have a short break. We're going to break away for about 15-30 seconds, and we'll come right back.
Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for watching us on Two Queers in a Truck. Don't forget, you can watch us anytime at your leisure on our video podcast platforms like Facebook and YouTube. But you can also listen to us, either this show or any of our past shows, on our audio podcast platforms like Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, and all of the other ones. So once again, thank you for watching Two Queers in a Truck. I hope you enjoy our show.
And we are back. So, one of the, the crazy things about, any of those type of crazy people, it's just, I don't even want to call them crazy. It's just stupid. It's just a clown show. And I think they think that's the only way they can keep their job.
Yeah.
But moving on to the next topic, the truth and anything but the truth. So Trump's Truth Social is debuting and is starting to go live. and it's already getting roasted in so many different ways. Doesn't look like the numbers are going to be very good. Because I listened to a snippet of a little podcast today that was taking it on, and they said, one of the big things is what's the appeal, and you got this ex-president that says all kinds of inane things, but they're not in office anymore, and that's about it. That's about the only appeal of the app, but there really isn't anything that's scalable or viral or new about it. It's just going to be a another version of Newsmax or OAN or, or a Fox News where they're just going to repeat conspiracy theories and talk about this, the steel and all kinds of other stuff. And we've already got that. What is the True Social, and that's the name of it, which is just delicious. What is it going to bring to the marketplace that we don't already have 4 or 5 versions of it? What would keep you from just going on to Fox News and watching Tucker Carlson? Because it's going to be the same kind of content. What would drive it?
I think you said something last week, or it was the week before, that was so true, and this is an example of it. Trump has no intention of, and he's never done anything that's long-term. He doesn't care if it lasts long-term. He's a cash and grab kind of person. And the only reason he's put his name to this and he's doing this is because he knows he can probably make some quick money with, and then get out of it. He doesn't care if things succeed, as long as he can make some money and prove a point. And his point is he can stand up to big tech and whatever the case may be. And so I don't think anybody who is seeing this thinks of Trump as anything long-term. You think of it as something that's going to last a couple of months, and then we will silently hear they've decided, to not, whatever the case may be. So, but that's his business style. So,
well, yeah, it is his business model. Yeah. You are saying really the right thing, because, it's like the old song, "Take the Money and Run." It literally is. This guy has had an entire history, except for his TV show, because NBC controlled everything. They just paid him a salary to do the show. But every business venture he's ever done, he has gutted it, including his trust funds, swept every cash out, spent it no telling what on. But it has been his MO, even in the presidencies, like how they were trying to monetize the presidency and sell favors and all that. And methodically, slowly but surely, I think people are realizing it. But again, there was a high wealth investor in China that invested into this deal. I guess he couldn't get Saudi Arabian royal money or huge money. And so the irony is that his main investor came from China, and I think it's exactly right. I think it's just another flim flam carny. If you give me a big old sack of money, I'm going to do unbelievable things, and there's going to be a lot of hyperbole and a lot of pomp and circumstance. And it may have a news cycle of a month or 2 months or 3 months, and then there's going to be some kind of excuse. There's going to be some kind of projection. And then the app is going to slowly flame out, just like every other Trump business. They're
already talking about, all that money that his campaign or whatever Save America group, whatever, they've got all this money in the bank in case he runs, which he's never going to announce to run, because once he announces to run, he has to start there's some legal things that go into effect. And so he's skirting that rule. He is, and what they're saying is that how he's given almost no money to other candidates. And, he's, even though he's endorsing them, he's not putting his money where his mouth is and giving money. And he's not going to do that. So, you know what? I kind of like Barbara and Dr. B, I'm over Trump, but I do enjoy watching his downfall every day when I see that.
Well, he was always born to be an entertainer. And
itself is fun.
And if I think, if you always talk about these sci-fi movies where they go, I would love to go back in time and either stop Hitler or do this. If I could have the Jedi mind trick powers and go back in time in 2015 and convince him not to run, and Hillary probably would have won in a landslide. She won the majority of the votes anyway. And if we'd have had Hillary as president for those 4 years, how much better our country would be. And because based on the fact that Bill Clinton's presidency, highly successful, was probably in certain ways he was the best president we've had. In certain ways he was more successful than Obama was. And especially when we're talking about balanced budgets and everything else. But the next topic, we are going to go to, and then we're going to have a short commercial break right after this.
Okay.
It is I brought back the 10 Foul Hat Award. So remember that? Like,
I remember.
And kookery stuff.
That's funny.
I'm bringing it back. And it goes to Kyle Rittenhouse and Tucker Carlson on Tucker Carlson's show recently.
That's funny.
Announced he's creating a foundation, I mean, get this, to hold media accountable.
Wow. Rittenhouse is?
Yes. So I guess in the vein of Trump and kooky things sell, he has come up with a new scheme to capitalize on him murdering 2 people in cold blood, and is going to try to make money off it, and is going to create a foundation to hold the media accountable.
Well, you know what that means. You know what creating a foundation means.
Well, yeah,
creating a foundation is like here in Charlotte, North Carolina, Tariq Bakari creating a nonprofit. It's just a way for him to make money.
Yes.
I mean, it's just a way for him to pay himself.
Yeah.
So Rittenhouse is create a foundation. It's like someone told him, "Hey, man, create a foundation, get people to donate to you. You don't have to work. That's really what that means." So
a lot of Republicans sent him money, and offered him all kinds of jobs and all this kind of stuff. This murderer, juvenile delinquent, and it's just unreal. I guess he is their version of David Hogg, which is the anti-gun, Parkland shooting survivor.
Yeah.
And there's definitely no comparison. David Hogg is articulate young man.
But hey, Jen, give Kyle Rittenhouse credit. He found a way to get sugar daddies without, he found a way to be a sugar baby. Is that what they call them? Sugar boys, or I don't know what they call babies. Them. He found a way to get sugar daddies. So now those Republicans who normally have sugar babies can just give to him and have another. I mean, hey,
yeah.
Go Gurl.
And all he had to do was kill 2 people in cold blood. It's just such a wonderful, cold sketch. It's so bizarre that we live in a country where somebody gets rewarded for murdering 2 people in cold blood.
Well, if you want, that's terrible. But if you wanted to have a Republican sugar daddy, all he has to do is move to D.C. You don't know how many guys there have Republican sugar daddies in D.C.
It's like a sugar assistance there.
If I had only known then.
What I know now.
Exactly.
You and I both, babe. I would have moved to D.C. We'd been working the whole congressional staff circuit, and
we would have worked it.
We'd have worked it. It would be like. I'll be your special assistant, I'll be your secret.
Franklin Graham's coming to town. Oh my.
My vapors. My vapors.
That's terrible.
Good old Lady G and the Lady Box.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's just unreal how, and again, we get back to the projection of the alt-right and how they, accuse every young advocate like David Hogg and even AOC being in Congress is that, they're going to make all this money off it.
Yeah.
And they said it with the Greta, this environmentalist and all these amazing young environmentalists all over the world, and all these, these young, active, unbelievable people trying to make change in this world and literally save all of us. And they almost none of them make any money off this. I mean, it's either scraping by, sleeping in their car, things like this. And then you got some twerp like Rittenhouse that's probably getting millions of dollars. I know he got millions of dollars sent to him for his legal defense and everything else. And like he needed some kind of money for pain and suffering. when he's the one that caused the pain and the suffering and the death, and it's just like, it's like the law and order party once again is projecting their own guilt and just love death. They love a criminal, especially if they're white, especially if they're conservative, and they're willing to throw themselves on the altar of kookiness and death culty.
Well, I mean that's that's pretty much what they do in the Republican Party anyway. Any congressperson or any senator, they don't really go back and get a real job. They go and work for a think tank, and that's their way of rewarding them for, you know what, this, that's why they have all those think tanks. That's just their way of keeping employed. So anyway, it's crazy.
Or start a church. I mean, what?
That's right.
Right. Go get a conservative religious talk show. But anyway,
exactly.
So it's super unreal. But we're going to take a quick break here, and we'll be right back.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching us on Two Queers in a Truck. Don't forget, you can watch us anytime at your leisure on our video podcast platforms like Facebook and YouTube. But you can also listen to us, either this show or any of our past shows, on our audio podcast platforms like Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, and all of the other ones. So once again, thank you for watching Two Queers in a Truck. I hope you enjoy our show.
And we are back. So the next topic is, you can't handle the documentary. And Lauren Boebert, or whatever her name is, I put Lauren Bieber in my notes, like she was married to Justin Bieber or something. That would be interesting. That'd be really interesting because he's a little bit off the rails. But anyway, I think he's already married. Lauren Boebert is seething and trying to suppress a documentary that's being filmed right now in Colorado about her racism and other considerable issues that she and family problems and stuff like that she's caused by her behaviors. This filmmaker, and I don't have his name offhand, has been doing a GoFundMe campaign and has a website and has a big old Twitter page following, and she's literally tried to sue him for making the trailers for the movie, trying to shut down his website, because they are about the free press and the First Amendment and all that. That amendment that comes before the Second Amendment. Unless, of course, it conflicts with your own BS. But anyway, she has been going after this guy and has been trying to make this documentary, and is just livid because she can't stop him. Stop him from making a documentary about her.
Was she interviewed for it or anything, or he's just making it? Okay, so he's interviewed other people.
He's interviewed other people that have had run-ins with her, and public information. Because obviously she said some racist things. Recently about the jihad squad, as she likes to call them, and just other conspiracy theories and things like that, and just going off on primarily women of color in the Congress. And so it's just very bizarre. But
that's pretty smart, though. I mean, not that I don't know why he would be doing this, but that's actually really smart. I wish other documentarians, I don't know if that's the term, is that right? Anyway, you know what I mean. Yeah, I wish they would do that for, let's say, MTG and Madison Cawthorn, or even Bathroom Dan Bishop, and talk about his early years with his first wife. Wouldn't that be great? I mean, to really expose these individuals for who they are.
Honestly,
I'd love one about me.
It would be an interesting series because if you took the early years of the kookiest Republican people just in the House of Representatives alone, you could get about a 6 to 8 show series out of that. And wondering how they got from being just a regular old citizen to being an off the rails death cult member, saying some of the most memorable but yet just unhinged things that we've ever heard people in Congress ever say publicly. Like they just dream up something.
That would be a great Michael Moore thing. That'd be a great Michael Moore thing, wouldn't it?
Oh, I think he could. I mean, they all you wonder where they were going down the train tracks, and then they just took this dog leg right and just said, "Here, let's go over here and go to Cookie Town," and what precipitated that in their lives.
For an example, I did not know, and I don't think most people know because we just assume things, especially if you don't dig in. I didn't know Madison Cawthorn has actually moved here from California.
Yeah,
but I did not know that.
Yeah,
he only moved here. I think it was like 3 or 2 years before he ran for Congress. Or maybe it was a year, like 2019. He wanted 2020. He moved here just to run for Congress.
Right.
And so
he's a legit carpenter.
Yeah. And so it's one of those things where you're like, you wonder, I think if people knew that, it would be, anyway, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I'm eating chips while we're.
No, it's fine. It's it's the same way with, Bobbert and MTG. You just go, they just popped up all of a sudden. A lot of them. I mean, Bathroom Dan has had a history in the state. He wrote the bathroom bill, anti-transgender thing, and then got fired from that political job, and then decided to run for another one, and so it's really surreal. I do think it's very interesting. This guy is doing this documentary, and he's been fundraising and trying to finish it. And Christian's probably been fighting legal battles as well. But it's a very bizarro thing. It's getting a life of its own. And the more
do you know when it's coming out?
I do not. I don't think they have because they haven't finished it yet. They're still in the process.
I wish it'd come out this summer.
So, well, I think it's coming out soon. So it's not. I think it's probably. I couldn't tell you the percentage because what I looked at didn't say the percentage of how far it is down the road. But it's definitely not that far away. And obviously, as much squawking as she's doing about it, it clearly must be close to being done because on his website it shows the different sections and the different trailers. So there's like 4 or 5 sections to it already. These already filmed. So it must not be just too terribly away. In fact, maybe on next week's show, I'll get a follow up and research and find out the part 2 of how far he is away and who knows. But we will move on to our next topic, which of course is our last topic of the night. And it is called, and this is also an award, Magnificent A-Hole of the Week goes to Vladimir Putin. And, it's not real hard to give him the Magnificent A-Hole of the Week. He probably will get the year. He is hell-bent on creating a war in Europe. And this is how world wars get started. This is how, in the nuclear age, we've never had this potential of having a massive war since World War II in Europe. And especially in the nuclear age, the fact that we both as countries possess over 12,000 nuclear warheads, maybe a little bit more total between Russia and the United States. I think we each have like 6,700, 6,600 nuclear warheads, which is more than enough to blow up every city in the world, major city in the world, like 3 times over. 100 or more launched against each other would wipe out our countries and put us probably back in the Stone Age. And the stakes couldn't be higher because to risk such a cataclysmic and human race altering event just because of ego, control. Yeah. And it's a lesson to us that we elected the same type of person in 2016. And we allowed somebody to invade our political spaces, almost try to steal the election in 2020 and 2021. This still goes around, ranting and raving that the election was stolen. It's still going on TV and now on his own Truth Network, according to him. It just, this is the same things that Putin does. Putin poisoned one of his rivals, jailed one of his rivals, who was running against him for president the last time he ran. Basically has the presidency on lock for as long as he wants it, alters their own constitution to make sure he can run again. And the guy just, is like a cockroach. He doesn't go away. The problem is that he's a nuclear power. He's in charge of a nuclear power and one of the largest militaries in the world behind ours, and is endangering 30 NATO nations, including ourselves. And that's the problem. Is the big problem is we've seen this spin out of control. We spent 20 years in Afghanistan, over somebody that blew up some buildings in the United States, which I'm not trying to downplay 9/11.
Yeah.
But it was no Pearl Harbor. There was no invasion of Japan, Japan into the United States. In the grand scheme of things, we blew that up out of proportion. We're in danger of repeating that because, our military was to kill and break things. That's their job. And his military is not going to back down. What happens when those two actually clash for the first time?
I actually think, now, this is where I don't have sympathy for conspiracy people, but this is because I wouldn't move this into conspiracy, but I actually believe that Putin is so paranoid right now because he's caught between a rock and a hard place. He now has to either put up or shut up. He can't withdraw. If he withdraws, he's going to get somehow because there was a general that was in charge of the retired generals. I don't know. It's like the AARP, except it's like for generals in Russia. This general came out and spoke out against Putin about how this was irresponsible and it was this, and it was unheard of because no one speaks up against him. But apparently this general feels like, he's got the backing of the military. He could do it, our former military. And it was so rare. It made a bunch of news. I actually believe that the old guard in Russia are tiring of Putin and that they're just waiting for some mistake to turn the tides of people's opinions, and that he is paranoid now because he doesn't like Trump. I think that he's kind of becoming delusional, and I think we're going to see some type of, this is me, I don't know if this is the case, some type of overthrow in the next year. I just think that's going to happen. Yeah.
There is a ton of former Russian military that lives in the Ukraine, and the consensus among them is that they're actually going to join the Ukraine side and fight against Russia. It's a sizable country. Again, they have 40 million people living there.
Yeah.
Now
it's
have
huge.
Forces in there. And they're all well equipped, they're plus we have some of our equipment. I guess we have some of our troops there. We have more on standby. I honestly think, and I've seen a few articles, I think we'll avert war at the last minute. And the only reason I believe that is because, one, we'll wax them off the face of the earth. Russia is technologically not as advanced as we are. They've never been as successful as we are, which I don't really think it's successful to be in war, but we have a very effective military. I think between that and the other NATO allies in the Ukraine, I think being able to defend that turf is going to be pretty easy. I think they're going to be a little surprised how many militaries we've crushed that the Soviet Union could not even crush. They couldn't.
But don't you?
And
that's kind of that's kind of what I was thinking, Jenny. Because this is a little different for Russia. This is different because it's not like them going against brown people or invading brown and black people. This is them evading their former. They were part of the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
And so his argument, or their argument, that there are people in Ukraine that want to come back to Russia. What he's saying is that they're really just us. We just are trying to help them come back to us. So any bloodshed that occurs is going to get sympathy from people in Russia. And there's no way that they would be able to invade cleanly. It's not like they're going to put because we've given them Javelin rockets to blow up tanks. It's just going to take one crazy skirmish, and so I just think this is different. It's not like, it would be like us invading Canada. It's just, they're too similar to them.
And here's the other thing too, and that's an interesting point that you made there.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. It happens every once in a while. But one of the things is that Russia's never had a successful military. The Germans beat them back almost all the way to Moscow, and if the winter wouldn't have hit, Russia wouldn't have been successful. Plus, the Germans predominantly were having to fight us off, and we took on the Germans on multiple fronts. We took on the Empire of Japan, and we won a 2-front war. And Russia just we weakened Germany down so they could push into East Germany. But truthfully, Russia was almost done for, other than the cold weather stopping the Germans and just some attrition. But they've never been a tactically good, tough military.
Yeah, because it's been Afghanistan was really their only,
and they got obliterated.
Yeah, exactly.
They got
so other than that,
by a country that shouldn't have beat them with a slight amount of assistance, and weapons and some training, but not enough that they shouldn't have. Like, the Soviet Union was never an effective fighting force like we are, and they've never had the technology. There was a lot of inflated numbers on how big their tank force was, when quite frankly about only 1 in 10 tanks actually ran properly. They don't have any capability, honestly, of beating us. And here's I guess where I was going with this. If Putin makes the mistake of going into a full-bore war with NATO, including us, and we win, which we will, then what? And if he thinks backing down and negotiating a peace settlement will be embarrassing, when we shellac his fighting force and push back into Russia,
so
what's going to stop us from going all the way to Moscow?
So this tells you how much at the mercy they really are to everyone. And I don't think people realize that. Kind of to your point, people don't realize how really bad the Russia's economy is worse than like a third world country. It's all show. They sell oil. That's what they do. They sell oil, but their oil company that trades on the stock market in Britain switched from trading from dollars to euros because they were afraid that our what do they call it? The sanctions would stop that. So they traded the euros. So now the European Union says, we're just going to stop trading your ability to trade in euros. So the only option they have is to trade in rubles or whatever their thing is. And no one trades in that currency. So they are, if they are not allowed to trade on those markets in Britain and whatever, they're screwed, and they know they're screwed. So I don't get their.
They have.
I want them to be screwed.
they will. The situation they're in is if they commit to the war, they're going to lose. Yeah. If they do the war, they're also going to crush what economy they have left. Like it's going to be really ugly, really fast. And in a post-COVID world, in this era, and I know that China's made some assurances that they would help them, but the truth is, China won't. China's been an enemy of Russia for a long time. They just tell them what they want to hear, and they if China's biggest market.
If China wants to start draining their revenue to help them, let them do it. It'll make China weaker. I don't think China would help them because China's about China. China is. Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you.
And China's always stood alone, and so I think I've seen some press releases where the people were worried about China and Russia changing that, but I honestly think those two countries' agendas don't go parallel. They've been enemies for a long time. Neither one of them trusts each other. And I think at the end of the day, I think Russia's going to stand alone, and it's not going to be pretty because OPEC sure isn't going to help them because they're like, that's one less oil and gas country.
Exactly.
Like we control the market even more. So let's think about this. Now you guys are on your own. Even some of the South American countries that have had alliances with Russia, are the same ones that produce oil, and they're not going to help them. Not that they could,
but you know what? Hey, Jen, I said this. Jen, I said this last week, and I know you hate when I say this, but there is a part of me that almost hopes there is some kind of conflict. And I know I hate that I have to say that, but there's a part of me, and the reason is because that would turn the tides in America, that we would be united against them. And I would rather have us, and I've said this before, I know you hate it, I'd rather have us united against Russia than each other.
Here's my final shot on that.
Yeah, I know.
The Republican Party has gone down the authoritarian road.
Yeah.
Too far.
Yeah.
They're not coming back. The only way they're going is down.
Okay.
And it's become a total absolute party of white supremacy.
So you don't think this is going to be able to bring us back with each other?
It's not going to be a 9/11 moment.
Oh, no.
9/11 moment wasn't really real either.
Oh.
I mean, they were fake wars for profit, sweetie.
I miss my Republican friends.
Well, they don't really exist.
Yeah, I know.
She was on the other foot that crushed us.
I know.
On that note, we have gone over on time, and we ended on a downer, that's for sure. But hopefully, cooler heads will prevail. And anyway, this was another edition of Two Queers in a Truck.
Maybe we can end with some music.
We're going to end with some fun music. Actually, that song went away, so we will. I don't know what we're going to end on. Little technical difficulties here. Am
I in charge of the music today? This is the banjo.
This is going back with the banjos. I love it. And Russia is kind of the Mississippi of the Europe. Anyway, so everybody have a great week. Thanks for tuning in as always, and we'll see you next week on Two Queers in a Truck.
Bye, Queens.
Bye, Queens.
I was hoping they don't care. That's good.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching Two Queers in a Truck. You are what makes us successful. I hope some of y'all aren't too offended, but it happens. See y'all next week.
Bye. Bye, Felicia.